The galaxy had always regarded humanity as an anomaly, a curious species that clawed its way out of obscurity on a pale blue dot, only to stumble into the interstellar arena like a bumbling child. For centuries, they were tolerated, pitied even, by civilizations far older and more advanced. Their ships were clunky, their technology rudimentary compared to the sleek warships of the Krill or the crystalline constructs of the Evon. But what no one anticipated was how dangerous patience could be. It began with whispers in the galactic council chambers. The Krill, a militaristic race of insectoid conquerors, had grown restless. They viewed humanity's rapid expansion as a threat, though few others shared their paranoia. "They breed like vermin," hissed Commander Zixar during one particularly heated session. His mandibles clicked furiously as he gestured toward Earth's delegation, a lone diplomat named Elena Vasquez, who sat quietly at the table, her expression unreadable. "Their unchecked growth will destabilize entire sectors. We must act before it is too late." Elena remained calm, her voice steady but laced with steel when she finally spoke. "Humanity has done nothing to warrant such hostility. We seek peace, trade, and mutual prosperity. Your aggression serves no purpose here." Zixar sneered, leaning forward. "Peace? You call your reckless colonization efforts peace? You invade worlds without regard for their ecosystems, strip them of resources, and leave chaos in your wake. If you do not curb yourselves, we will intervene." The chamber fell silent. Other delegates shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. Many privately agreed with Zixar's assessment. Humanity's methods were indeed messy and often destructive. Yet none dared speak against the Krill. They were notorious for their brutality, having raised countless civilizations over millennia. But Elena simply nodded, her lips curving into a faint smile. "Message received," she said softly. Then she stood, bowed slightly, and exited the chamber. Back on Earth, the message spread quickly through the United Terran Coalition's highest echelons. The Krill weren't bluffing. Intelligence reports confirmed massive fleets amassing near human borders. War seemed inevitable. Panic rippled across the planet, but beneath the surface, something else stirred: determination. In secret bunkers deep underground, scientists worked around the clock. Engineers dismantled old spacecraft, repurposing every scrap of metal and circuitry. Soldiers trained relentlessly, preparing for battles they knew would come. And above all, leaders strategized, not just militarily, but psychologically. Humanity had spent centuries enduring hardship, adapting, surviving. This time would be no different. President Marcus Hale addressed the world from the steps of the Global Assembly Building. Behind him, the flag of the UTC fluttered proudly in the wind. "For too long," he began, his voice resonating with quiet fury, "we have allowed ourselves to be underestimated. We have been patient, diplomatic, willing to extend hands of friendship, even when met with disdain. But there comes a point where patience becomes weakness, and restraint becomes complicity. That point ends now." Crowds gathered in cities worldwide erupted into cheers. Screens flickered with images of citizens rallying together, donating supplies, volunteering for service. Humanity wasn't just preparing for war, it was uniting as never before. When the Krill fleet arrived, they expected resistance, but not this. What should have been a swift invasion turned into a nightmare. Human ships, smaller and less advanced than their counterparts, swarmed the invaders like angry hornets. Pilots sacrificed themselves to disable enemy dreadnoughts, kamikaze runs becoming acts of legend. Ground forces employed guerrilla tactics, striking hard and fast before melting back into urban sprawls or dense forests. Even civilians joined the fight, sabotaging supply lines and broadcasting propaganda designed to sow discord among the Krill ranks. And then there were the weapons, dubbed Project Phoenix. These experimental armaments represented humanity's last gamble. Energy shields that could withstand plasma bombardment, railguns capable of piercing the thickest armor, drones equipped with AI so advanced they could predict enemy movements seconds in advance. Each innovation shocked the Krill, forcing them to adapt constantly, but humanity adapted faster. Commander Zixar watched in mounting horror as his once mighty fleet dwindled. Reports poured in of human soldiers fighting with a ferocity bordering on madness. Entire planets rallied behind the UTC, offering resources, manpower, and intelligence. It was as if the entire species had awakened from slumber, driven by some primal instinct to survive at any cost. "What are they?" Zixar muttered to himself, staring at the tactical display. Hundreds of red blips blinked out of existence, replaced by green ones advancing steadily. How can they keep coming? Weeks turned into months. The tide of battle shifted inexorably in humanity's favor. The Krill retreated to their homeworld, desperate to regroup, but humanity followed. By now, the war had become personal, a vendetta fueled by centuries of condescension and fear. The final assault on the Krill capital was brutal and unrelenting. Human forces overwhelmed defenses, breached fortifications, and stormed the central hive. In the throne room, Commander Zixar awaited them, surrounded by his elite guard. When Elena Vasquez entered, flanked by Marines clad in battered but resolute armor, he snarled. "You think this victory means anything? You are still insignificant." Elena stepped forward, her gaze unwavering. "No," she said. "We're not. Not anymore." With those words, the guards opened fire. But the humans didn't falter. One by one, they fell, until only Elena and Zixar remained. She raised her weapon, aiming it squarely at his chest. For a moment, neither moved. "Why?" Zixar asked, his voice trembling. "Why fight so hard? Why endure?" Elena smiled bitterly. "Because we learned something about survival, about resilience, about hope. And because no species will ever forget the moment humanity's patience finally snapped." She pulled the trigger. News of the Krill's defeat reverberated across the galaxy. Civilizations that had once dismissed humanity now watched with newfound respect and fear. In the aftermath, ambassadors approached the UTC seeking alliances, trade agreements, and partnerships. Humanity accepted cautiously, wary of repeating past mistakes, but the lesson had been learned. Never again would they allow themselves to be underestimated. Never again would they bow to intimidation. And never again would they tolerate disdain. For in the darkest hour, humanity had discovered its true strength, not in technology or numbers, but in spirit. A spirit that refused to break no matter the odds. And so, the galaxy remembered. As Elena had promised, no species would ever forget the moment humanity's patience finally snapped.